What's up, people? It's me, your boy Perfection, back again. Don't try to be right, strive to be righteous. Right, here we go, people. Right, here we go. Right, so we left off. Right, so that's the women. So women are getting forced into so women are kind of being manipulated into trying kind of things that aren't really it's not really, you know, like they've gone from being basically straight to now being encouraged to do kind of bisexual scenes to generate more money. They end up going down that path, you know, and they become desensitized, as do the viewers, guys. Okay, that's another point, is that if we went back, say 20-30 years ago, it was very rare to see anal sex. That was very rare. It was just straight sex, because a lot of the religious people I knew would class you as a sodomite. Okay, it was extremely rare to see those things. It was extremely rare to see a woman being choked. It's extremely rare to see a woman being spat on, a woman being slapped, okay, a woman being tortured. These things were extremely rare. Now it's common. So now there's people back in the day that I can guarantee you would never have even thought about saying, yeah, I'd love to do that to a woman and this and that. Even though the Western women are privileged, self-entitled. I was watching something the other day where a woman shouted out, "We don't need men, you need us, you're beneath us now," and all of that. Even though women feel that way and have this kind of more male testosterone than we have, it's still not. It's still surprising to see some of the friends that I had back in the day talking like that. I had one of my friends that said, "Yeah, I prefer anal now. That's the only thing. If I could just strictly have anal." And to hear someone talk like that is amazing to me, you know. What was I also going to say about the desensitized thing? Yeah, so basically it works over the whole desensitization. It works both ways. The porn actresses, when they're forced into that lifestyle, it slowly, with the degrading and the constant barrage of kind of these kind of more explicit, more rough, more kind of out there scenes, even scenes where they're pushing pedophilia, they're pushing incest, they're pushing bestiality. They become more. It slowly breaks them to the point where even though you see them smiling in the video, they're generally broken. Off camera, they're generally broken. You know, sometimes we walk around with this metal shield like everything's good and everything else, but deep down inside it's tearing us apart. And that's when you see people suddenly have breakdowns. They suddenly have a meltdown. I think Mariah Carey went on to an MTV when she had her first breakdown. I think she went into an MTV interview in America. I think it was Times Square, New York. And then she goes, I want to take my clothes off. And so suddenly she started undressing. And that's when someone just jumped in there and kind of had to save Mariah Carey from, you know, having a nervous breakdown on TV. So sometimes we don't realize how much we're carrying, and then one day it just all hits us. But a lot of these porn stars basically are broken. As for the men, sometimes you get men kind of they're finishing on top of each other, and there's a term for that as well. When they misfire or whatever they call it, they're finishing on top of each other. Sometimes one man's having sex with a woman and then he jumps off, and then another man's giving that woman oral sex. So that, like I said, there's a lot of homoeroticism in all types of porn. I don't think you can really escape it. It's got to the point where it's almost like hedonism, you know. I tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of when Moses freed these people from slavery, and he went up to the top of the mountain for I don't know how long. Again, don't quote me, it's not 100% accurate. He went up, this is according to when I watched in the movie. Basically, he went up to the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments, and his people, he said, look, I'll be back down, I need to speak to, you know, Jehovah. And he went up there to receive it, and when he came back down off the mountain, the people were engaging in orgies, sex fests, and you know, you can imagine, he just freed them, all of the effort that he's put in, and he comes back down off of the mountain and he looks around him, and the same people he's freed that were humble, that were, you know, in bondage, in pain and misery, now all of a sudden they're indulging in threesomes and gold and all of that kind of stuff. And it just, so that's kind of what porn kind of reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of a lust fest, where you can take a normal man that had good views, and now all of a sudden he wants to have sex with, he's asking his wife to dress up as a schoolgirl. Maybe he's even asking his wife to try sex toys on him and things like that. I want to know what it feels like, because I've seen it in the porn. Some of those male porn stars as well are bisexual. I remember watching one old English guy, he looked like he was about 47, 48, and I remember seeing him in one video, that in the picture, the thumbnail, clicked on it, and he's having sex with a tranny. And I was like, nah, but he's been in so many videos that I've seen him with Mr. Marcus, I've seen him with, what's his name, Shawn Michaels, I can't remember, there's a lot of their names, you know, the big stars, so it's hard to know at one stage who is straight and who isn't in that industry, you know, but a lot of it leads towards that. And the last thing I'll say, was the videos that I started watching, in the end, it was more like gangbang type videos. And I'll be honest about it, I think that the reason why I watched it is because I myself started to feel a bit of hatred towards women when I was going out there and I was being nice to them, and I was being how my mother raised me to be. It seemed like it backfired. It seemed like women were blatantly telling me, you're not a man, because I was too nice, because I was too robotic, too predictable. You know, words out of a love song or whatever. That's how they looked at it. Oh, this is boring, this is lame. So I used to watch things like gangbang. I used to watch women, and I used to kind of get obviously I got an arousal from it, but I also got this kind of yeah. I love, you know, when I saw them sometimes even crying and guys spitting on them and all that kind of stuff, I got an enjoyment out of it. You know, so where was I going with the whole thing? But what else? I remember watching one particular woman. I remember her name actually, but I'm not going to go. All I say is that she wasn't as nice as she made out to be. That's all I say. That's a little clue. And in this video, she's 30 or something like that, but she's dressed up as a schoolgirl, and she's sitting down there, and this guy is pretending to be a teenager, and he's like, you know, maybe we should try something new. And she's like, you know, but I'm a virgin, I can't do that. And he's like, oh, come on, you know. She goes, no, my dad said I can only do it to someone that's married, you know. And he's like, okay, but what if we try, you know, if we put it in someplace else? And she's like, what, you mean there? And he was like, oh no. She's like, there, but you know that's sodomy, you know you'll go to hell. And then all of a sudden she's bending over and she's teasing the guy, and she's saying, you know, doesn't the Bible say this is wrong now? And a lot of these porn stars, from a biblical aspect, have sold their souls to the devil, basically. It's as simple as that. And they're leading millions of people astray. And if I go back to people that I knew that were innocent, combine that with women rejecting them, and, you know, what did they say, like lights like moths to a flame, you know. So, and these women are well aware of what they're doing, They're well aware of it. Innocent young kids, spiritual kids that gone to church and all of that. And not just that, people are sending it. People are sending clips to their friends now. I used to have a friend that was sending me clips like that, and I had to say to him, look, stop doing it, man. You know that I'm on this. At the time I was on the NoFap. Now I just say I'm on normality. Stop sending me these clips, man. So I couldn't even tell you that I haven't seen a porn clip in 2 years, because sometimes my friends would send me a clip. It would look like it was a normal clip. I'm looking down at it. This woman saying to this guy, oh, she's dressed in a cheerleader outfit. She walks up to a random guy in the street. Oh, I'm gonna do something. He's like, what are you gonna do? Right, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do this thing that I did when I was in my cheerleading thing. He's like, okay. She goes, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a handstand, and you're gonna catch my legs, okay? And he was like, oh, all right, well, whatever. So she does a handstand, and she's wearing her underwear, you know. So my friends were sending me clips where I was exposed to porn, kind of thing. So I can't even say technically I haven't watched it, because my friends were sending me little things. But the biggest thing, the last thing I say on the whole porn thing to stop you from watching it, other than where it's leading, homoeroticism, disrespect on women, the last thing I'll say is worshipping Satan. In the very end of me watching porn, I had to watch the rough stuff, and half of the free stuff I'd already seen it 1 or 2 times. Yeah, so multiple thousands of videos I watched 2, 3 times, and in the end, the new stuff that I'd click on would start to have devil videos. It would have a logo in the corner, devil videos, satanic videos, evil angel. All of it had satanic messages in the bottom. Even some of the old videos I used to click on now suddenly had evil angel, you know, lustful angel, devil angel, whatever. All of them started to have these devil worshipping logos in the bottom corner. And then at first I was kind of like taken back by it, and I would stay away from it, and then I found myself slowly edging towards it, and I'd be clicking on those videos, and then I make up excuses. Oh look, man, it's just a video, man. Who cares if it says devil in the corner, 666 in the corner? Who cares? It's just a video. But reality is, I should care, because I'm worshipping Satan. It's as simple as that, you know. I mean, even as an atheist, you should be questioning that, even as an atheist. But anyway, okay, so the last thing I'll say about MGTOW, because I've got about 2 minutes, 3 minutes left, and I think this is important as well, just to debunk the whole you shouldn't marry a woman thing. All I want to say to people is that I've had a change of thought on the whole marriage thing, and moving a woman into your house thing. I've had a slight change of thought, so maybe I've sold myself out in the whole MGTOW thing. I still believe 100% in being very careful with women. I still believe in 100% of moving in with women. I still follow all of those things, but I think in regards to marriage, I think that I've seen guys get into a relationship with women, and in the beginning of the relationship, when they're sitting down, when I've seen the interactions with these women and how the women are around them, it's like when they're talking, these women aren't genuinely interested. They're not really taking these guys seriously. Maybe because the guys aren't to be taken seriously. Maybe because they're clowns. You know, if you've got a clown, you're going to treat a person like a clown. Maybe that's why they're not showing the men that kind of respect. Maybe because they know that at the drop of a dime, these guys are going to be cheating on them. But the whole point of what I'm saying is that, you know, if you're getting with this woman in the very early stages and she's rarely replying to a text, even when you're in a relationship with her, you don't know what she's doing, you don't know where she's going. When you're in the company of her and you're talking to her, she's kind of rolling her eyes and she don't really take you seriously and all of those kind of things. And then 8 months down the line, regardless of how those things going on, you want to marry her, then in my eyes, you're making a big mistake. If you are going to get into a relationship with a woman and you're looking to marry her, then you want to get into a relationship with a woman that is kind of starry-eyed when you first see her, starry-eyed a year down the line. And what I mean by that is that when you're talking, she's genuinely listening to what you have to say. she smiles at most things. A year down the line or 2 years down the line, she's still smiling when you talk. When you ring her at any time, she has no problem of telling you where she is or what she's about. So you can tell these kind of messages from the beginning, kind of thing. So if you're looking to marry a woman, like, no marriage is perfect, but if you are looking to marry, make sure that she's genuinely smitten with you. A year, 2 years down the line before you propose, that kind of thing. Don't get into a relationship with a woman that was never, because some guys, I don't know what planet they're on, when the marriage goes wrong, it's just too obvious. It's like, come on man, you should have known that. You could see that from the beginning, kind of thing. Not that I was hating on them, but that's how it appeared to me and many other people. They just didn't, the signals were there, they just refused to accept it. But apart from that, every other part of the MGTOW I believe in. Me myself, I don't really see myself getting married, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying that with guys, just have a little bit of intelligence, because you can tell sometimes from the very beginning where it was going to lead. But if she's genuinely interested and smitten, and a year later when you're talking, she's still waiting on every word when you talk, she's genuinely listening to you, not rolling her eyes and going, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Because those kind of relationships can end at the, at the drop of a dime. So anyway, this is my last videos on the NoFap, on the MGTOW, and on the porn addiction. I wish you well. I hope this has inspired you. And yeah, I will see you around in about 3 weeks time, and we're gonna change it all up. More philosophy videos for you guys. Peace out.